The five-match T20I series between England and West Indies is on. And here's Australia versus New Zealand that is going to start on Saturday, the 26th of September. Today on Avnir presents The Outside View, part by WTF Sports. We look at that series. Let's look at the big picture. First thing, Amy Satterthwaite's return. She was on a maternity break and she's coming back to international cricket with the three-match T20I series between Australia and New Zealand. Big talking point, one of the big talking point, if not the biggest, Ananya?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's come back after, like you said, after a maternity break, and just the fact that she's come back, I think everyone is really excited. And also we saw how New Zealand kind of struggled with their batting without her through the T20 World Cup. So she's a huge addition to this squad, and to celebrate, I think, she comes back and she's playing her 100th T20I. So it's kind of like a double celebration.
Double celebration it is indeed, because we had a word with her earlier and she was sort of had doubts as to whether she can remember to bat, and all that will be clear in the next few weeks. But coming on to the WBBL itself, it's one of the pathways for Australia's cricket. There have been talents that have been discovered through that tournament, and the familiarity aspect is there because after this series, there'll be for example, Sophie Devine and Beth Mooney will play in the same side for Scorchers. So one of that spices up things, because how eagerly can you compete against each other?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and I think both sides have often said it that they've played so regularly over the last, say, 5 to 6 years that they know each other really well, and the WBBL competition has kind of just increased that familiarity, considering they play with each other as well. So it's going to be an interesting contest. Australia New Zealand is always very tightly contested, so I have no doubt that this series is going to be the same.
When cricket resumed after the pandemic, the questions that players were mostly asked were ranging from whether you will miss the crowds, or is crowd a factor to sort of make a difference in win or loss. Another important aspect of this series is that crowds will be back. Interesting times, Ananya.
Yeah, I mean, so as soon as the tickets went on sale, we saw that they were sold out in a couple of days. So people are definitely excited to be back. I mean, I think just as much as the players are excited to see a crowd, people are excited to, go out and watch live cricket again. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, especially, to see what happens when a six is hit into the crowd, ball gets sanitized, so many things change. But just, I suppose, in some ways, where normality resumes with crowds being able to attend games. So that's definitely a positive.
Let's now take a glance at the Australia squad. One of the key players, Ellis Perry, will she bat? Will she bowl? Will she play? What's that? So to just have a cushion, Australia have plenty of all-rounders in their squad, isn't it?
Yeah, they do. I mean, and Perry herself has said ahead of the series that, I think they'll kind of ease her into it. When she'll play, how much she'll play, whether she will bowl as well. There are so many questions around her, but like you said, they've got a lot of all-rounders. They've got a lot of cover for her. She can play, purely as a batter, but whether she will want to is another question. So they've got a lot of cushion, and I think it'll be interesting. Or her injury kind of provides someone like Annabelle Sutherland a huge opportunity to kind of, I suppose, cement her place in the side, earn an ODI cap as well.
Taylor Fleming, poor old Taylor Fleming, was looking forward to play the T20 World Cup at home, but that injury ruled her out and is still out of play. Do you think they have enough cover in the pace department as well?
They certainly do. I mean, Annabelle Sutherland again kind of is an out-and-out fast bowler. She's everyone's been talking about how she's really improved, put on pace over the last 6 months. So they definitely have cover in that department. They've got plenty of all-rounders. They have Belinda Vakariwa, who's come back in. They have Maitland Brown, who's also earned her maiden call-up. So they do have enough cover in the pace department for sure. So that's something that I don't think they'll be too worried about.
Moving on to the tourists, New Zealand. Let's take a look at their squad. Deanna Doughty, Jess Kerr has been persisted with. Clearly, domestic performances have been taken into account.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so the Super Smash, all the New Zealand players were around. So I think that's kind of, weighed in with Deanna Doughty and Jessica's selections. The fact that they did well in a competition where all these players were, present. And also, I think the fact that Deanna Doughty also kind of bowled to the New Zealand players ahead of the South Africa series. That was a period where, they were all really impressed with her, and considering the absence of the two off spinners, I think they just wanted to have an extra spinner there.
You had a chance to speak with Natalie Dodd during the lockdown, and she's there vying for the sole wicket keeper spot along with Katie Martin after Rachel Priest's exit. That spices up things a bit as well.
Yeah, it does, and I mean, she's coming off a huge load of domestic runs, so. And Katie Martin again is someone who's done really well for New Zealand over the last few years. She's really found her, place as a batter in the side. She's been prolific over the last few years. So, it'll be interesting to see which of them gets a game. I think both of them also have the ability to play as pure batters. So it's going to be interesting to see how New Zealand, work with both of them.
All right, 3 T20Is. Time for some predictions. What's the prediction you want to go with?
I'm going to say 2-1 Australia. I think Australia are the better side, and they've always been the better side. So 2-1 Australia. I'm giving New Zealand a game because it's Australia and New Zealand, and it's going to be keenly contested. What about you?
I'm gonna go with the nice people of world, let alone world cricket. I'm gonna go 2-1 New Zealand. I know it's a bold call, but I'm going to go 2-1 New Zealand. So 3 T20Is. You can make your fantasy team on WTF Sports app, combining players from both these sides. We'll get to you the T20I previews as well on Avnir Presents The Outside View, powered by WTF Sports.